To ensure access to labor market defined by the principle of non-discrimination based on gender, in our view, it is necessary to promote a gender perspective.
What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerdcastle. The weapons, you get better at attacking, whereas your defensive skills get better permanently. So keep that in mind. A good idea when you knock out bandits is to take their weapon from them. Then you can use them as like pseudo training dummies because they won't have weapons. They'll only be able to punch you, and then every time they wake up, you can kind of like smack the hell out of them. Like, let's say we move the Gohan to right there. Yeah, we better fight this fight right.
In the arts, realism is where the artist tries to represent the subject as truthfully as possible. In games, realism is where you starve to death after 30 minutes. And this is why I'm constantly snacking. What those 19th century French painters didn't understand is that for certain video games, realism means including realistic elements that some might call excessively mundane. And not just because you'll starve to death otherwise. Anyway, please enjoy these 7 times realism was way too realistic in games. First, please excuse me while I consume this snack.
Well, Mr. Morgan, I'd better start cleaning up. You just take it easy. I'll bring your coffee out in a moment.
Thank you, Polly. I have to warn you, though, I am very particular about my coffee. The very best you have, please.
I understand. I'll be right back with it.
Survival horror detective game Deadly Premonition is heavily, openly inspired by TV series Twin Peaks, but I don't remember an episode of Twin Peaks where Agent Dale Cooper ran out of fuel on his way to the Great Northern Hotel and had to walk back into town. Yes, in addition to unravelling the mystery of Anna Graham's murder and tracking down the Raincoat Killer, Deadly Premonition also tasks you with keeping on top of all sorts of tedious real-world things, such as your hunger and tiredness levels. I play video games. Do I look like I know anything about eating well or getting enough sleep? It's keeping your vehicle topped up with fuel that's the most irritating one though, because not eating a sandwich isn't going to leave you stranded in the middle of nowhere and having to traipse several miles back to civilization.
Here you go. The usual. 1 turkey, strawberry jam, and cereal sandwich.
Though, based on that recipe, eating it might leave you stranded with paralysing indigestion. Instead, you'll have to pre-plan your commutes around Greenvale, paying regular visits to the gas station where you'll pay an extortionate $5 a gallon to top up your police SUV. That's twice the national average. That's the real crime going on here in Greenvale. Also, a single gas tank only takes about 15 minutes to completely empty, which implies the engine is some sort of dying star? Look on the bright side though, at least if your car has run out of fuel, you don't have to listen to Agent York's inane chats with his imaginary friend Zach about movies.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986, directed by John Hughes. That one was so 80s.
That's because it was made in the 80s.
Can I take your order, please?
Carl, what do you want? You gotta eat to keep your strength up, man.
Hey, I'll take a number 9, fat boy.
Give me a number 9, just like his. Let me get a number 6 with extra dip. I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
We modern humans live in a calorie-rich environment alongside such modern inventions as the Freak Shake and the KFC Double Double Down, which is 2 double downs smushed together with a side of heart medicine. As a result, us modern humans occasionally need to exercise our modern human bodies, and no one knows this hard truth better than CJ of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. In its quest for realism, GTA San Andreas incorporated physical exercise as the means to keep CJ both healthy and ripped. You had to manage the body fat and muscle mass of your CJ by working out or running or what have you.
That's it. Keep breathing.
Which, I don't know about you, but I play games to escape the reality where I have to do cardio. More like cardi-no. Ow, chest pains. Woe betide any player who kept scarfing down in-game foods and didn't visit the gym. For what CJ gained in chonk, he lost in physical prowess. The mitigating factor here, at least, was that for every 14 seconds of cardio or single rep of weightlifting, CJ's body composition would gain 1% muscle. With results like these, he should have his own line of fitness DVDs and protein shakes called CJX. The CJ stands for completely jacked. The X is meaningless.
I'd better hurry.
In Shenmue 2, you play as Ryo Hazuki, a man with martial arts skills, a leather jacket, and the emotional range of a plank of uninteresting wood.
Do you know of a cheap way to travel overseas?
I'm dying to travel overseas myself, but I don't know of any cheap way.
I see.
Ryo is searching for his father's killer, and by the end of Shenmue 2, this search takes him to Guilin in China, near to the village of Bailu, where the killer is thought to be heading. Seeing as Bailu village is about a 2-hour walk away from the port of Guilin, most games would probably handle this with a cutscene. You know, show Ryo walking onto the path towards Bailu village, fade down, then fade back up as he arrives there several hours later. And if you think that's what Shenmue 2 did, then clearly you have never played Shenmue 2. Once you set foot on the path to Bailu, it quickly becomes apparent that the game actually expects you to walk there in real time. It's a tedious 2-hour hike made exponentially duller by the addition of Shenhua, a local who somehow manages to be even more boring than Ryo, which, we remind you, is no easy feat.
A lot of them are in bloom.
Yes, it's as though the whole mountain is wrapped by the flowers. Let's move on, Yo.
Okay.
What follows is literally 2 hours of the two most boring characters in video game history wandering through the mountains, doing nothing except exchanging inane chatter about flowers and what Japan is.
No. I came from Japan.
Japan? Where's that?
It's an island country, east of China.
In the east.
For, and we really can't stress this enough, 2 real hours.
Let's hurry on.
Yes.
Yes, let's. Don't worry though, there are a few exciting interludes to keep things interesting, like the time you have to gather firewood by collecting individual sticks.
This won't be enough.
Or the time Ryo does Tai Chi, the world's most boring martial art. Ooh, this looks promising. Maybe if I fail this QTE, Ryo will slip and fall in the river and die excitingly.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Of course not. Oh well, at least we must be nearly there by now.
We're halfway to Bailu village from here.
Alright, I'm out. Enjoy Shenmue 3, everyone.
If you think modern survival games like Ark Survival Evolved are harsh, wait until you meet ancient open-world Don't Starve to Death 'em Up Robinson's Requiem. Appearing on long-forgotten platforms like the Commodore Amiga, Atari Falcon, and Panasonic 3DO, all of which sound like Star Wars spaceships, Robinson's Requiem might not have been the first survival RPG, but it was definitely one of the most brutal. That's not gonna fix itself like in Call of Duty, is it? In it, you played as a Robinson, one of a team of human planetary explorers seeking out new habitable worlds.
For your last hours as a Robinson, you are about to experience thrilling and unforgettable moments.
And by habitable, we mean extremely hostile, basically empty, and where almost all human contact is with other Robinsons who have maybe spent a little too long in space.
Here it comes again. I'm feeling ravenous. All of a sudden.
Not sure if that's the space madness or just really poor dubbing. The worst part was, it's not even necessarily the initial injury that kills you in Robinson's Requiem. It's the fact that if you leave injuries untreated, they can become infected with gangrene, which will eventually poison you to death. Now it says I died from poisoning by gangrene, but I choose to believe I was murdered by skeleton space ghosts. It'll sound much cooler on my tombstone. The bad news is effective treatment often involves amputation, which, in the absence of a well-appointed modern hospital out in deep space, means hacking off the affected limb with your survival knife, accompanied by a scream that sounds almost exactly like the one from fellow Amiga game Rick Dangerous. Tell me I'm wrong. We should have expected as much from a game called Robinson's Requiem, though. A Requiem is a death mass, after all, so you could tell right from the start that this was probably going to end extremely badly. Otherwise, they'd have called it Robinson's Welcome Home Party, We Bought You Cake. Probably wouldn't have fit on the box.
Bring the boy around. I want his undivided attention. Where's my son, you fat bastard? Patience, Mark, my boy. All in good time. Warning you, Charlie. If you don't tell me where my son is, you better kill me now. Is there any way to greet an old friend? Stop talking and start listening, Hammond.
PS2 game The Getaway had grand ambitions to be a gritty, realistic London gangster epic. In the mould of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, or a Christmas episode of EastEnders.
I'm running a nightclub. I've been out nearly 2 months and I'm not in the life. I don't do this anymore. Relax, son. You'll do yourself an injury.
It achieved this in several ways, such as by recreating a significant chunk of central London circa 2002 at a 1-to-1 scale. It was an incredible achievement, not just in terms of the accurate street layout, but also in the hundreds of recognisable British storefronts. That is the first and last time anyone will lovingly model a Dallas chicken and ribs. To go with that realistic recreation of our capital city, the developers wanted to clear away any and all HUD elements from the screen. For example, when you're in a car, you had to work out your route to the next objective by watching the rear indicators flashing.
Yeah, they must be inside.
Something that became considerably more difficult if you smashed them up in a car chase. It's that same insistence on a realistic HUD-free screen that inspired The Getaway's bizarre healing mechanic. Yes, it had recharging health much like Halo before it, but the difference was that in order to recharge it in the middle of a shootout, you had to find a wall to lean against and then have a little rest like an out-of-breath pensioner. Hey, I'm sure gangland shootouts are tiring. Take a load off. Now, we're not suggesting it's realistic to be able to heal gunshot wounds by slouching against a wall. What we're suggesting is the insistence on a realistic HUD-free screen led to an annoying system where you had to break off from shooting goons to stand still and watch a guy wheeze himself back to health. Still, as an added bonus, standing around for a bit will also magically clean bloodstains from your ruined suit jacket. So it was probably a waste of time meticulously modelling that British dry cleaners.
Jose?
You want to go hunting?
What are you hunting? An elephant?
I wish. No, I saw a huge bear. One of the biggest I ever saw. I reckon nearly 1,000 pounds.
My God. But you need me to come with you.
Of course. Let's go.
Red Dead Redemption 2 seems to be somewhat in two minds about how realistic it wants to be. On one hand, your horse's testicles will react realistically to the weather. On the other hand, you can craft homing tomahawks. It's how the West was won. Still, most of the time, the game manages to strike a decent balance between realism and tedious reality, except when it comes to hunting. In the original Red Dead Redemption, hunting was a breeze. You went to a likely looking location, used bait or rode around until you found a stag or whatever, and shot it a bunch of times. John Marston would then presumably shove the pelt, meat and valuable animal parts down his trousers, where they would sit until he remembered to sell that big buck for big bucks at a trading post.
Options to suit any pocket.
In Red Dead Redemption 2, however, if you want to do a bit of hunting, then you'd better set aside a couple of days, because this is going to take a while. For a start, if you're out hunting for good animal skins, you need to bear in mind that some animals start with bad pelts due to, I don't know, mange or something. So you need to scope out your targets with your binoculars to make sure you're not going to be spending your time stalking an animal in return for a crappy pelt. Then you need to take into account how if you damage the animal's skin, you drastically reduce its value. So you need to use your bow, or your knife, or smaller caliber guns if you don't want to be trying to sell animal pelts with great big holes in them. That's if you can actually get near the animals. Did you even consider the smell that humans emit? Some animals do, so if you want them to not leg it the second you get within smelling distance, you're going to need to pick up some cover scent lotion from the local general store. Anyway, once you've tracked your prey and killed them in the least damaging way possible, you then have to skin the animal, and let me tell you, Red Dead Redemption 2 does not decide that now is the time to give the realism a rest. Horrifying. Now, if you want to sell the carcass or donate it to your camp, you'll need to actually pick it up and put it on your horse and then ride it all the way to a butcher or back to camp. You'd better hope that it doesn't fall off or start to rot on that journey back, because hey, that's something that can happen as well. But then you can drop it off and reap the rewards. $3? That barely covers the cost of that weird cover scent lotion I had to put on. And oh good, now my horse is covered in blood and attracting predators, and so is my new jacket, so I need to go have a bath.
Can I get a hot bath, please?
Hunting. More trouble than it's worth, if you ask me. If anyone needs me, I'll be over here, dynamite fishing.
Henry! Get up now. There's work to be done.
Lots of games let you get drunk, but the effects are usually consequence-free. The screen goes a bit wobbly for a minute or two, and then you're immediately as sober as a judge at a temperance movement rally. But drinking has a more significant effect on your game and longer-lasting consequences in Surf Simulator Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's surf with an E. You're not going to be slotted into a totally tubular 10-foot barrel. I mean, unless you really piss off the king. You'll want to think very carefully before you get drunk in this game. But on the other hand, a few pints with the lads is pretty much the only break from the unrelenting misery of being a medieval peasant. I mean, what else is there to do for fun in Bohemia in 1403? Candy Crush isn't going to be invented for another 609 years?
What are you waiting for, soldier? Fire the trebuchet! For king and country!
Oh, right. Flinging poo at a wall. How could I forget that classic game? There are plenty of positive effects of slight drunkenness in Kingdom Come Deliverance. Drink in moderation and it'll make you more charming, offer new speech options, and allow you to endure more punishment in combat. We call him Two Drink Henry. Overdo it though and you'll wake up with a rotten hangover the next day, which ruins your strength, agility, vitality, speech, and charisma. But while they hadn't discovered the restorative power of the Bloody Mary in the 15th century, presumably because Mary I wouldn't be born for another 100 years, Kingdom Come Deliverance does have a hair of the dog potion. You'll have to haul your sorry carcass out of bed and brew it yourself though. This involves boiling up some St. John's wort and sage and then adding a dash of mint, which is presumably less about curing your headache and more about dealing with medieval morning breath. Remember, you have literally never brushed your teeth. Neck the potion and you'll immediately reverse all the negative effects of your hangover. And I've made some right now to cure the hangover that's affecting my charisma. Well, now I feel worse, but at least my breath is fresh.
Come here, quick! Alarm!
Well, I haven't eaten for 15 minutes, so I assume my health is dangerously low. But before I enjoy this health-restoring snack, why don't you treat yourselves to this video from Outside Xbox, which is about the spammy moves you love to spam because you're such a spammer.
Money makes the world go round, and it's no different in video games. Cash lets you buy new things to help on your adventures, or as we've mentioned on this channel before, bypass those adventures entirely. Money talks, so us players will find any way to get hold of it much faster than intended, often putting our questing on hold to make the most of an exploit and completely mess up a finely balanced in-game economy. So here are the times we stopped playing the actual game and instead went money farming. Let's go milk us a cash cow.
That's not how farming works.
The Fable series has long desired to give you a second career as a landlord. I mean, Peter Molyneux, petting this dog is already a full-time job. To help you raise funds in Fable 2, you could spend money to make money by buying up a load of houses in Albion and charging rent for them. But unlike in the previous game, the Fable 2 system paid you automatically and went by the calendar on your Xbox 360. A slightly different approach to gold farming, but pretty nifty. I mean, why spend hours toiling away in a blacksmith minigame when you could be getting automatic payments as you adventure away? But the payments didn't stop when you turned the game off. Go away and enjoy the real world for a bit, or play a different game, and when you next booted up Fable 2, you'd be welcomed back with a lump sum of payment in arrears from your tenants. So, in what might be a first for video game development, if you wanted to make money, you were almost encouraged not to play the game. Peter, you visionary. However, for those who couldn't be bothered to wait around, there was an exploit that you could use. Because payments relied on the Xbox 360's system clock, which could easily be adjusted, many players set their clocks back, bought loads of properties, and then set their clocks forward by years to reap huge rewards. And because money wasn't removed from your character if the clock was set back, this leap could be done over and over again. Although you could only set the Xbox 360 clock to 2025, which makes me think Microsoft knows something that we don't. As long as you weren't connected to Xbox Live, which automatically set the date and time, you could turn your Xbox 360 into a weird Fable 2 coin TARDIS. Players could use this to quickly build up all the funds for the stuff they needed, including Fairfax Castle, the most expensive place in the whole game, which turned you into the reigning monarch of Albion. So, enjoy ruling over Albion, until 2025, which I can only assume is when Microsoft will set off the event.
Pirates love to carry a lot of coins with them, and they don't always spend them wisely. In Monkey Island 2, you can use this to your advantage when you meet these so-called men of low moral fibre, aka pirates. One of them sports a rather classic peg leg, and despite his label, he appreciates you taking care of it. If you invest in some wood polish from the local shop and use it to give his leg a new lease of life, he thanks you and rewards you with a piece of 8. In fact, he really appreciates it, allowing you to do it over and over again, despite the benefit to him being much lower each time. Hey, whatever floats your boat.
It's technically a ship.
Ship. But carry on polishing and you're rewarded for it over 5,000 times until the pirate finally runs out of cash. By which point we're assuming that the leg is more wood polish than actual wood. This takes hours and is something only the most patient players could do. Or something to do while you catch up on all those podcasts you've been meaning to listen to. Or, you could watch one of our many fine videos. I mean, there's Let's Plays, there's, chatting on the sofa, there's Show of the Weekend.
How much does it cost?
It's all absolutely free.
Wow.
I know.
Got a lump of bread today.
Killing low-level creatures to farm their gold or items is a mainstay in many games. Fun too. Although the game wants you to go on to bigger and better things, there's often nothing stopping you from going back to the same areas over and over, killing helpless respawning creatures for their sweet, sweet loot. One such example could be found in The Witcher 3, where players discovered that if you stumbled across these cows, you could take advantage of a useful exploit. You could kill them, loot them, meditate until more spawned, and repeat. Cows were an easy target because of their weakness to being easily murdered, and the fact that they handily came in pairs. Who knows why? Maybe they're married. I don't want their life story. Take them out and you could take their pricey hides, as well as their meat and milk. I'm not sure if drinking milk from a dead cow is a good idea, but hey, it tastes just as good. But the developers over at CD Projekt Red saw what was happening and dealt with it in a patch, the notes of which contained some intriguing wording. Try to break the in-world economy by killing cows then meditating, and the new patch deploys the Bovine Defense Force Initiative. Yup, try this exploit one too many times and a hugely high-level monster would come along to totally destroy anyone but the highest level players. Oh man, you better get her out of there. Which away to the hospital? What a scary moment.
Right, 3's enough. Boo!
Just trying to lighten the mood. That thing was terrifying.
As anyone who's had to do any kind of gardening will tell you, it isn't fun, which is why we like the Switch, because it allows us to spend time outdoors without having to touch any plant life. Ew. One great game on the Switch is Super Mario Odyssey, and whoo boy, does Mario like to stack up those coins. While previously it's all been about the high score and getting an extra life or two, in Odyssey it's mainly about buying those all-important outfits, and they can cost a lot. If you want to look good, buddy, you've got to splash the cash. Oh. Oh no. But there are some outfits that will require such a ridiculous amount of coin that playing the game normally just won't cut it. You've got a few options to raise funds. You can replay some levels, hunt out those last few hidden secrets, and generally play the game the way Nintendo wanted you to. If you're a sucker, that is. Those impatient to get stacks of wealth could instead try one of these crazy profitable get-rich-quick schemes. For instance, you can spare a few coins to play the Tossed Arena minigame, hitting 3 coins to win 30 in return. That's such a good return on investment that I'm no longer annoyed that I initially misread it as Tostadas minigame and got upset that I wasn't immediately eating Mexican food. But should you be further in the game, the most lucrative coin farm in Odyssey is this plant pot in Bowser's Kingdom. Pop a nearby seed in here and you'll be taken up to a fairly simple platform runner, hoovering up coins as you go, only needing to fling your hat and press the jump button a few times. In fact, it's easier if you never touch the direction stick. Simple. Once done, you're plopped back next to the now empty again plant pot and you can grab a freshly respawned seed to do it all over again. And again, and again. And who said gardening wasn't fun?
You did.
That was me, wasn't it? Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts is all about friendship, which is why the opening level has multiple minigames where you beat the crap out of your mates.
Oh man, I'm really off today.
If you want to hide an in-joke inside your video game, then an Easter egg is just the thing. Even better, if you want to throw some shade on another video game in the name of friendly rivalry or outright snark, Easter eggs are the perfect delivery vector. Don't believe us? Well, why not have a watch of these shady Easter eggs that were sly in-jokes? Beware some minor spoilers for the following games, but they are really minor, so don't worry about it.
Come on. Nice view.
Men.
No, I was talking about the mountains. Really.
Quick, what's your favourite colour? I'm going to guess the...
Come on. Nice view.
Men.
No, I was talking about the mountains. Really.
Quick, what's your favourite...
Nice view.
Men.
No, I was talking about the mountains. Really.
Quick, what's your favourite colour? I'm going to guess that you didn't say an unpleasant shade of greyish-brown, not because I can read minds, but because literally no one would ever say that. No one, that is, except for video game developers in the mid-2000s who were inexplicably obsessed with making their games look as washed out as possible. The chief offender was Gears of War, which, while a perfectly good game, looked drabber than the before apartment in an episode of Queer Eye. Just saying, pull all that rubble up, beautiful hardwood floors all through this level. One standout exception to this rule was the Uncharted series from developer Naughty Dog, which was full of colourful, vibrant cityscapes, jungles, and archaeological ruins for you to clamber all over as you constantly cracked wise, despite having just murdered hundreds and hundreds of people.
Is that an ancient Tibetan ritual dagger in your pocket?
Oh, maybe I'm just happy to see you.
Chilling. Not ones to be left out, however, Naughty Dog included an unlockable visual mode called the Next Gen Filter, which, when applied, made everything in the game look brown and muddy and generally terrible.
Who hasn't checked in?
The last truck never arrived.
It also blew out the image with plenty of bloom, because nothing says next gen like being blinded by overexposure.
Follow me.
If you're worried about all of the colours that were taken out of these clips, don't worry, they were safely stored and reused in the visual filters for Uncharted 4. Now that's next gen.
Not much time, people. Get those bags secured before the cops take them. The boat pickup is coming. Hey, watch where you're shooting.
Call of Duty historians will remember the year 2013 as the year that gave us Call of Duty Ghosts, the Call of Duty that was set far enough in the future that you've got a remote-controlled dog.
Nice.
Anywho, upon first revealing Call of Duty Ghosts, the developers, Infinity Ward, were really proud of the technology they'd stuffed into their new game, so they told us all about it.
We've added fluid dynamics, interactive smoke, and also added an AI system to it. So we have fish move out of the way when you get close to them.
A new AI system so that fish move out of the way when you get close to them. As you might recall or possibly can imagine, the internet gave Call of Duty Ghosts a good-natured ribbing about this unasked-for innovation.
Keep away from open water. We're not the only hunters out here.
You know why fish are so smart?
Don't you do it.
Because
Stop her!
Fish are always in schools.
Boo!
And they're not to be left out of the fun first-person heist simulator Payday 2 named one of its achievements Fish AI, in a reference to the Call of Duty Ghosts techno-brag that was less of a subtle nod and more of a vigorous headbang. To secure this achievement, players have to, quote, on day 2 of the Watchdog's job, throw a loot bag into the sea, hoping fish move away as it gets near. Yes, the player has to chuck some of their precious loot into the briny deep, in the hope firstly that the fish down there will use their fish smarts to avoid being clobbered by a duffel bag of cocaine, and secondly, that the rest of the heist crew will not shoot them in the spine for ruining the drugs. These are dangerous criminals we're talking about here, you idiot. Maybe we should have hired a fish for the job. Those guys are smart. And you know why they're smart?
Stop.
Because they're always in schools. God, it's a tough crowd.
It's the same bad joke as before.
Yeah, it's still a good joke.
Still a bad joke.
I liked it.
Thank you, Ellen.
What do you want?
I'm looking for rough sex, and Kinsey scares the shit out of me.
I stay on top and you don't get to talk.
Deal.
Saints Row might have started off as a GTA ripoff, but by the events of the 4th instalment in the series, plenty of other games found themselves in Saints Row's satirical crosshairs. As a cheeky parody of Mass Effect's Space Lothario Commander Shepard, the player character in Saints Row 4 is also seemingly irresistible to 99% of sentient life in the galaxy, including what I can only assume is the ship's Roomba.
Don't worry, I'm fully equipped to pleasure you.
And with the Saints stuck on a spaceship for the majority of the game and facing almost certain death, they kill time in the exact same way as the crew of the Normandy, by knocking moon boots.
But seeing you now has made me realize how much I need you.
So if you ever fancied your chances with any of the cast of Saints Row, then the love scene of your dreams is only a button press away.
Hey Kinsey, you wanna
Let's go.
So much to unpack there. Unexpectedly for Saints Row, some of these romance options are actually quite touching, particularly the ones with characters from the early games. It must have taken every shred of the developer's restraint not to put a punchline on the end of this.
It always drove me crazy that you had exes in every city and were willing to go on a dating show, but not once did you ever give me a shot.
You never asked for one.
I'm asking now.
Then let's make up for lost time.
That's what she said! Sorry, I'm bad at talking feelings. And when it comes to seduction, none of the iconic Saints Row characters are off the table. Or the bed. Or the whatever.
Want to add casual sex to that list?
I normally don't swing that way, so f*** it, I'm down.
And all of that, just a single dialogue option away. Take that, Mass Effect, with your multi-game character arcs and your meaningful relationships.
They're rushing you. Check out your mini-map.
Mike, you should do better.
Just have some patience.
That's how you play Destiny right there.
In many ways, water is the perfect drink. It's cheap, hydrating, and also you can see enemies attacking you through it.
Hey, Jane, is that coffee you asked for?
Nice try, Andy. The one critical deficiency of water, however, is how it doesn't come with any downloadable content. That's where energy drink Red Bull comes charging to the rescue, with its promotion that in 2015 gave Destiny DLC to people who submitted the code found on special Destiny edition cans of the Gamer's Go-Go juice. The upshot was you had to buy Red Bull in order to unlock a certain timed exclusive quest in the Destiny expansion, Destiny the Taken King, which you had already bought. So it's like DLC within DLC. And that is a worse deal than the Louisiana Purchase. What's that? I didn't write that. Andy, did you do...
Yeah, you see, the Louisiana Purchase was actually a historically bad deal for France. They sold around about 800,000 square miles of
Wait, no, that's
USA
history. Stop trying to make me learn stuff. Then the makers of zombie parkour adventure Dying Light led the snarky satirical online response with a tongue-in-cheek promotion of their own. All you had to do was drink a quantity of sugar-free, low-fat water, then tweet at the makers of Dying Light with a photo of that. You would be rewarded for said consumption of H2O with Dying Light DLC, which you'll enjoy if you can stay awake long enough without the caffeine to which you've become so hopelessly addicted. Oh, speaking of which, can I get a coffee over here?
Not falling for that again.
Oh, yeah.
Animal rights organisation PETA has a long history of creating video game parodies to raise awareness of their cause, from Mario Kills Tanuki, to Pokemon Black and Blue, to this version of Cooking Mama, in which Mama shouts animal cruelty facts while brandishing a knife. Yikes. Looks like Mama will fix you if you're not careful. One of the more popular offerings was Super Tofu Boy, a parody of indie darling platformer Super Meat Boy, which was pretty much exactly the same game, only with bad controls, repetitive music, and the fact that you played as a jumping block of bean curd. Super Meat Boy's developers didn't see the funny side, however, and clapped back with an Easter egg for the PC version of their game, where entering a code on the character select screen gave you the option to select Tofu Boy as a playable character. But you might want to think hard before you do, because Tofu Boy is bad. On account of what the game describes as a major iron deficiency, Super Tofu Boy can't run and can barely jump, which, in a game that requires you to run and jump a lot, is a considerable impediment. In fact, you might find yourself struggling to complete any of the game's levels with Tofu Boy, starting with the very first one, and you can forget about any of the harder ones. Ha! Take that, you dumb tofu.
You couldn't complete that level with Meat Boy, either.
Yes, well, now I have an excuse.
Bad, they make you mad. Games are bad, they make you mad. Games are bad, they make you mad. Games are bad, they make you
Who's
mad.
with me?
Games are bad, they make you mad.
Come on, everyone, follow me.
Postal 2 is a pretty funny game, if your idea of funny is going around urinating on everything.
Now the flowers will grow.
Postal 2 developer Running with Scissors takes perverse pride in being controversial, and no target is safe from its juvenile satire.
Next.
That doesn't count as satire.
Looks like the Chad is still hanging on that one, but I'm sure they'll count it.
Okay, that is somewhat satirical, if a little the 2000 presidential election. With such a scattergun approach to the targets of its humour, when Running with Scissors fell out with Postal 2 publisher Whiptail Interactive, they turned their powers of parody on that situation in their Postal 2 expansion pack, Apocalypse Weekend. In the game, Whiptail was rebranded Bullfish Entertainment, and their real-life CEO, Fred Heslop, became Fraud Hogslop, which, I mean, sick burn.
Hey, Vince sent me to pick up the Gold Master.
Gold what? Hey man, there's no Gold Master here. There's not a Gold Master within 100 miles. Vince is just crazy and insane. I never got any Gold Master, and I'm definitely not running off copies, eh? Who said I was running off copies? Some damn liar.
Your job in-game was to go and steal the finished version of the code from Postal 2 from his desk in an opulent office, while he attempted to deter you with his rocket launcher.
That stuff really hurt.
Wow, we are really working through some issues here, aren't we, running with scissors? You know, therapy is probably cheaper than full-blown video game development. Slightly cheaper. Putting your private disputes with your publisher into your video game for your audience to play isn't so much airing your dirty laundry as loading it all into a cannon and firing it into the sky. It's also more inside baseball than the rubber core inside an actual baseball.
You see that node beyond the village? Weren't a thing there for centuries. Till one day we awoke, bam! There were a tower atop it. Then all of a sudden lightning started pounding down. As if the Noggle Fair itself was sailing in. Hasn't stopped to this day.
The Witcher video games differ from the books they're based on in a number of ways, from the relationship between Ciri and Yennefer, to the fact that author Andrzej Sapkowski never sent Geralt on an adventure that was a thinly veiled dig at overbearing digital rights management. You know, little things like that.
Your beard. Why did you decide to grow it out?
Don't really know.
Must say it suits you.
And Geralt hated facial hair in the books. The forums are going to hear about this. Anyway, in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, there's a quest called the Tower Outer Nowheres, in which Geralt battles the sinister forces of DRM. Only here, DRM stands for Defensive Regulatory Magicon, and is a magical defense system stopping a wizard from living in a tower that he bought pre-owned.
This tower was to be my new home. Bought it at an auction, you see.
Despite the wizard being the legal owner of the tower, this DRM is in place to make sure that only the original owner can access the castle's rooms, and so it's up to Geralt to defeat the DRM using something called Gottfried's Omni-Opening Grimoire.
We must deactivate the Defensive Regulatory Magicon. The tower's prior owner wrote a treatise about removing such defences. Gottfried's Omni-Opening Grimoire.
The Grimoire is a magical book that, coincidentally I'm sure, happens to share its initials with GOG.com, a service that offers DRM free access to games and is a wholly owned subsidiary of Witcher developer CD Projekt. Wherever you stand on the issue though, I think we can all agree this makes real-world DRM seem sane by comparison, because even the most draconian DRM doesn't make you fight a monstrous golem to access your video game. Also, after defeating the DRM, the tower disappears entirely and dumps Geralt in a river.
Not this way, the door.
So yeah, DRM is bad. Or possibly good as it keeps you out of the river? I don't know, it's the Middle Ages or something. Anyway, look forward to a quest in the next Witcher game where you have to fight a dragon called loot boxes or something.
You're alive. And in one piece.
One soaking wet piece.
Thanks for watching this video about the shady, in-joke Easter eggs that threw shade on all the other video games. And no shade from us, we're only going to support and promote our own videos, of course. Up here, outside Xbox, it's another video on Easter eggs that were kind of snarky about other video games. Yeah, you like that? And for something completely different, how about this from Outside Extra, in which Luke and Ellen, they've both gone to the movies. They've seen the Tomb Raider movie. Don't you want to know if it's any good? They're gonna tell you. Completely different, how about this from Outside Extra, in which Luke and Ellen,
So, another Tomb Raider is in the cinemas.
What?
It's a slightly different Tomb Raider lady.
Alicia Vikander, yes.
Miss Croft is back, but with a brand new story, and there are some similarities and differences to the games, which we are going to look at today.
That's right, and this is going to be extremely spoilerific. We're going to be way spoiling the movie, so if you do want to go into the film surprise, switch off now. Otherwise, watch on.
like a Starfleet cadet facing the Kobayashi Maru simulation, sometimes in a video game you find yourself in a no-win situation where the only outcome is a bad one. Unlike that cheater pumpkin eater James T. Kirk, however, you can't sneakily reprogram the game to give you a better ending. You've just got to play the game, make your choice, and live with the consequences no matter how bleak. Join us now as we ponder the games that had multiple endings, sure, but all of those endings were bad or bad and sad. Now watch out for spoilers for these whole bunch of games.
Hey, Cap. Captain Walker.
What is it, Lugo?
Got a situation, sir.
Mission critical?
No, sir.
Then take it up the chain, Sergeant.
Roger that. Lieutenant Adams.
I hear you, Sergeant. What's your status?
Status is chafed, sir.
You say chafed, Sergeant?
Yes, sir. A local airborne insurgency has infiltrated the U.S. zone designated as my pants. Sir.
Shut up, jackass.
I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Yet I still probably like it more than Captain Martin Walker, protagonist of Spec Ops: The Line.
Take him out! Everyone move!
The game is inspired by the Joseph Conrad novel Heart of Darkness and takes place in a ruined Dubai that's been destroyed by sandstorms. There, Walker and his squad are trying to find John Conrad, a US Army colonel who, along with his unit, the damned 33rd, had defied orders and declared martial law in the city.
To anyone who can hear me, I'm the commander of an American evacuation force. We're here to rescue you. But first, the 33rd will pay for what they've done.
Despite being a third-person cover-based shooter starring a Marine with a shaved head and a Nolan North voice though, Spec Ops: The Line is a lot more complex than it first appears. Before long, Walker is suffering from hallucinations, committing atrocities, and, well, committing more atrocities because of the hallucinations.
That's white phosphorus. Yeah, I know what it is.
You've seen what this shit does. You know we
Might not have a choice, Lugo.
There's always a choice.
Sure, there's always a choice, and I choose to use white phosphorus. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, right, my war crimes. Anyway, when you finally catch up to Conrad, the whole reason you stayed in Dubai in the first place, it quickly becomes apparent that he's not really in a state to be rescued, or indeed do anything beyond possibly being used as a Halloween decoration.
It seems that reports of my survival have been greatly exaggerated.
The game actually has 4 different endings based on what you do next, and let's just say that none of them involve Walker and his pals going for ice cream sundaes. Firstly, you're given the option to shoot Conrad or to shoot yourself. As you might imagine, shooting yourself ends the game.
5!
On the other hand, shooting Conrad sets up 3 more potential gloomy endings. In one, you are killed by a patrol sent to pick you up, and in another, you go to town on them with an automatic shotgun, then stay in Dubai to rule it as some kind of mad shotgun king.
We've heard shots. Is everything okay? Sergeant Roberts, what is going on?
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai.
The final ending, and the one the developers would probably consider the good ending, is the one in which Walker surrenders to the patrol, after which he's taken away to answer for his crimes with his psyche in tatters and the deaths of thousands of people on his conscience. That's your good ending, Spec Ops: The Line. And even Heart of Darkness had a better ending than that. I mean, once I wrote it in there, in Sharpie, seemed to lead into the heart of an immense darkness, and then they all went for ice cream sundaes. The end. See? Joseph Conrad knew how to end a story of madness and obsession.
Well, hello, friends and fans. It's beyond awesome to have you guys all back this year. First off, I gotta say, I am super excited to welcome all my pals back to the annual Blackwood Winter Getaway.
Until Dawn is an interactive horror movie in which young adults are menaced on a mountain by supernatural cannibal monsters.
Oh, you're not real!
Also, one of them is Mr. Robot, off of Mr. Robot.
That's not who he plays in that show.
What? I've got to admit, I have not seen the show. Does he at least play a robot?
No!
What?
I really want to spend some quality time with each and every one of you and just share some moments that we'll never forget.
In the tradition of horror movies, but with the added layer of interactivity and a decision tree more complicated than the song by Avril Lavigne, the menaced young adults will live or die according to how you play.
Ash. I'm sorry.
Chris, please.
The baddest possible ending, it may not surprise you to learn, is one in which all of the unlucky young people die horribly by various horrible means.
We have visual. The main structure is completely destroyed. Over. I'm seeing something. There is still no sign of any survivors.
Worst winter vacation ever. Yet Until Dawn's best ending, in which everyone survives and you get the trophy called They All Live, still manages to undercut its own ostensibly happy ending.
We have visual. The main structure is completely destroyed. Over. Hold on. I'm seeing something.
Good.
It looks like there are survivors.
In this ending, the playable character...
Ce e chestia asta, bă? Uite aici, pe literele e său. Deci știi, mai mult de jumătate de ecran descris.
Păi ce scrie?
Că e garbage, aia scrie. Nici n-am să târă să port. E un banner de-l port și dai buff la toți aliații. Probabil ar fi bun pe Monk. Ăla e suport, nu?
Pe ce?
Monk. Monk nu e suport.
Ce Monk?
Ăla cu
Templar? Dar nu există caractere suport aici.
Nu?
Nu. Poți să te faci suport, dar nu e...
Nu, ideea e că nu e bun pe mine pentru că sunt pe Dex.
Ai făcut ascendiurile alea?
Nu.
Trials of Ascendancy?
Nu, nu le-am pe toate.
Eu nu știu, cred că...
Am găsit un hideout nou în canal.
Și eu.
Ia ce amulete aici, 32 Dex. Asta, da, gimme.
Characters stay alive until the credits roll, but stick around and you'll learn that even though poor Josh Washington, played by Rami Malek, aka him off Mr. Robot, doesn't have his skull crushed by his monster sister...
Oh, you're not real! No, you're not! Ah!
Yeah, that. Even though not that, and even though Josh has survived, he's gotten stuck underground where he's lost his mind and become a gross cannibal monster himself, eating human heads and whatnot.
We have a visual on a survivor. One survivor, repeat. Is that? Stay back! Stay back! No! Stay back!
As a wise woman once sang, so much for my happy ending. A wise, wise woman.
This is my storm. I caused this. I caused all of this.
The branch of philosophy known as ethics has a thought experiment, a very famous one called the trolley problem. And it's not just when you're in the supermarket and your shopping cart has a wonky wheel. So there's a tram and it's going to run over and kill 5 people tied to the track ahead. Or you can pull a lever to divert the tram, but then it's going to run over 1 person tied to the other track. The main philosophical question is 1, who the heck is tying up all these poor people? And 2, which is the more ethical choice? Time-travelling teen drama Life is Strange complexifies the problem further still by substituting the 5 tied-up people with the population of a small Oregonian town, and the 1 tied-up person with the girl you probably love most in the whole world.
There's so many more people in Arcadia Bay who should live. Way more than me. Don't say that. I won't trade you. You're not trading me. Maybe you've just been delaying my real destiny.
Life is strange. Life is sucky, more like. Your ultimate choice between sacrificing Arcadia Bay to a supernatural storm or letting Chloe Price get killed in a bathroom gives rise to 2 possible endings, neither of which is the upbeat feel-good finale it sounds like.
Eu cu bannerul ăla cam galben, nu-mi permis să mai tai 10% din mana. Deja îmi tai 20%
both sides, but whatever your personal moral philosophy, we can all agree, screw Arcadia Bay, save Chloe.
Get that gun away from me, psycho!
Ah, I see you're from the classical utilitarianism school of thought, you number-crunchy morality robot.
Bloodleather. Deal with the boy. In Star Wars The Force Unleashed, Darth Vader's secret apprentice Starkiller has a lot of difficult decisions to make, such as how many times to spin a struggling stormtrooper before flinging them off into space, or what colour lightsaber to impale a stormtrooper with. Or how many times to catch a falling stormtrooper before finally letting them fall to their death. To be honest, they're mostly about awesome ways to kill stormtroopers. By the end of the game, after Starkiller has come around to the Rebellion's way of thinking, the leaders of this fledgling movement find themselves at the mercy of Emperor Palpatine, who has an attractive offer for them.
He will be interrogated, tortured. You will give me the names of your friends and allies. And then you will die.
Cool. Cool. Sounds cool, Palpy. Just give me a few minutes to think about it, yeah? Luckily, Starkiller shows up to save the day, wrecks up Darth Vader, and then is offered a choice. Choose the way of the light side and attack the Emperor, or choose the way of the dark side and join the Emperor, who, it must be pointed out, is currently electrocuting a kindly old man and laughing about it.
Help him!
Surprise! Choosing the dark side means you get a bad ending, in which the Emperor throws a spaceship at Starkiller and he dies like an idiot. Choose the light side, however, and Starkiller gets exploded by Force lightning and dies like an idiot.
He is dead. Then he is now more powerful than ever.
Is he, though, Palpatine? Seems pretty unpowerful to me. Hey, Starkiller, you suck. See? True, in this ending, Starkiller's sacrifice makes him a martyr for the Rebel Alliance, and they adopt his symbol as their own, but that doesn't help old Starkiller, does it? What with him being dead and all. In fact, none of the rebels seem to remember him at all further down the line. It's the bloody First Order who go around naming bases after him. Look, all I'm saying is a little gratitude wouldn't go amiss. Talking to you, Poe Dameron.
Hey, can you get me on the rooftop of that mall?
You gotta be kidding me.
It's a truth universally acknowledged that no piece of zombie fiction ever has a happy ending, so we weren't holding out much hope for any of Dead Rising's 6 possible finales. But it's equally true that in video games, doing everything you're told to do in your objectives list nets you the best ending, right? Them's the rules. That's why in Dead Rising we dutifully solved all the cases, talked to Isabella at 10 AM, and then got Frank to the heliport in time for a ride out of there and presumably a 100G achievement called Mike, You Are the Best. I will accept a 50G achievement called Mike, You Are Great. I'm a pretty magnanimous guy. But instead of a triumphant return to civilization and a Pulitzer Prize for photography, Frank's helicopter pilot buddy Ed gets bitten by a zombie and crashes, and Frank gets himself infected with the zombie virus.
You did it! You did it! Yeah!
You then have to fight your way through overtime mode, and Frank finishes the game screaming at the sky while surrounded by an overwhelming crowd of the undead. That's right, Frank, let it all out. I didn't get my achievement either, so we're both having a bad day. Believe it or not, that's the canonical true ending of Dead Rising, even though it's more of a downer than an all Radiohead mixtape. The rest of them are variations on Frank failing to escape, Ed getting bitten by zombies, and in one particularly grim turn of events, the entire mall exploding. Even Ending B, the least immediately horrifying ending, in which you escape on a helicopter with a group of survivors, has a sucker punch lying in wait.
Hey, Fred! I told you I'd come back for you!
Just as you're busy high-fiving yourself, it's revealed that although you've escaped, zombie outbreaks occur in cities across America, presumably killing hundreds of thousands of people. You know, normally when you kill that many people in a video game, you get some kind of achievement.
Mike!
Oh, alright, fine.
It begins.
If you're looking for a game with a broad spectrum of downer endings because, I don't know, you hate happiness, look no further than Drakengard, you weirdo. This PS2 fantasy role-playing game comes correct with not 1, not 2, but 5 possible endings, each of which is more surreal than Salvador Dali's stress dreams after a 5-course cheese dinner the night before his important algebra exam.
Will you forgive me now, Mana?
The endings are hugely diverse, united only by their surrealism and the shared themes of what we like to call the 3Ds of Drakengard. That's death, disaster, and the degree to which the human race is doomed. Oh wait, that's 4. The 4Ds of Drakengard. Never mind, the point is Drakengard is an epic saga in which the principal characters battle to save humanity from annihilation by the otherworldly malevolent beings known as the Watchers. And at the end of this epic saga, depending on which ending you achieve, you will be rewarded with either a whole bunch of dragons out to destroy humanity, also your dragon friend is dead, or a whole bunch of angel monsters out to destroy humanity, also your sister is dead, or a whole bunch of whatever in the name of Sweet Boss Baby is going on here.
C'è la pintuccia della Gen Betrayal, no? Alla patria.
That is some dead-ass Attack on Titan nightmare fuel. Right there is what that is.
It's the end, the end.
And yet you do not pray.
Bueno, ves che posso c'è ambush.
Help us now.
That's to say nothing of the truly left-field downer ending in which Kaim and his dragon-packed pal Angelus are warped through a dimensional portal into modern actual real-world Tokyo.
Is this the land of the gods?
Where they defeat the Queen Beast, but also a little bit set in motion what will be an eventual cataclysm in our modern actual real world. Also, they get blown up by fighter jets.
It is done.
Syndicate di serie, ma non c'è un Syndicate di serie.
When the only ending that even approaches a good ending involves a tiny child begging to be killed.
Kill me! Kill me! If you don't, I'll do something.
And then your dragon friend sacrifices itself while you cry.
You are the first and the last of your kind to know my name.
Then we're confident when we say that Drakengard just doesn't do happily ever after, because, like, that's for Disney, and also Max and Chloe, in my correct version of Life is Strange. Don't at me.
Come on, Carl. They'll solve the deficit crisis before you find it.
The 11th Hour is an excellent game for people who enjoy doing puzzles while a jerk is sarcastic to them.
3 across Panda? Oh, looks like someone found this clue too much to bear.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. In the game, you play as Carl Denning, an investigative reporter whose girlfriend goes missing in a spooky old mansion. You set off to rescue her, a process which involves doing a ton of sliding block puzzles and solving weird riddles, until you finally confront the owner of the house, Henry Stauff, who is hosting a game show in the attic despite having been dead for over 50 years.
I wonder what I've got in my pocket. 6. Count $600.
That's when you're given the game's final choice. There are 3 women to choose from. Robin, the girlfriend you came to the mansion to rescue, Samantha, the mysterious woman who's been helping you out and feeding you clues along the way, or Marie, who is evil but only wearing a bra. You can see the dilemma here.
Let's see what's behind door number 1 here.
Door number 1! It's sweet Marie.
Obviously choosing Marie gives you a bad ending, although I don't think anyone was prepared for her to turn into Stauff mid-sex and then chow down on Carl's ribs, because what?
Sure you wouldn't like a bite?
After all.
It's you!
Choosing Samantha, on the other hand, means that you escape the house, but it then burns down with Robin inside, and she dies. So logic dictates that the best ending is going to be the one where we pick Robin, the whole reason we came here in the first place, right? Guess again. In this ending, Carl is found dead in a river a few weeks later.
The body of TV reporter Carl Denning was found floating in the Hudson River today.
What's the message here, 11th Hour? Because I'm having a real hard time puzzling it out.
Stuck, are we? If only you had the brains to...
Yeah, all right, we're done here.
Wait. You're leaving? We're flying to Havana tonight. It's already begun. Mute will take it from here. Your family will be here in an hour.
As far as parenting role models go, Kane from Kane and Lynch Dead Men is somewhere near the bottom, right next to the McAllisters from Home Alone and the McAllisters from Home Alone 2. Two separate occasions, you guys. Kane's involvement with the criminal underworld is the reason his wife gets executed by mobsters right in front of their daughter Jenny.
No, wait! Let me talk to them!
And then later in the game, again because of Kane's life of crime, Jenny gets kidnapped and taken to the Venezuelan jungle, which is just lousy with guerrilla warfare at this time of year. In more proof of parental failure, when you finally catch up with her, it turns out that Jenny has quite the potty mouth.
Baby, let me hold you.
Get the f away from me, you murderer!
Yet another reason why you should probably hand in your world's greatest dad mug, Kane. Rescue Jenny and you're presented with two options for an ending, neither of which involves cake and party poppers. One option is to head back into the fray with Jenny in an attempt to rescue your comrades, Shelley and Riffic, and escape by boat. The other is to dishonorably ditch your pals and steal a helicopter with Jenny.
Fuck. Could get her out now. I don't know them shit. They all knew the risks. I'd have to let them burn. Not in front of her.
Kane, what's it gonna be?
Attempt to rescue your men and you're signing up for yet more shooting as you advance towards the church where they're holed up. When you finally get there though, Riffic is already dead.
Don't shoot! It's me. Kane? Where the f have you been?
Huh, I guess it wasn't short for terrific after all. Ooh, unless it was terrifically full of bullets. Worse still, as you leave, Shelley appears to be exploded, Jenny will be shot, and Kane finishes the game cradling his dead or dying daughter in the boat, as Lynch does his very best to offer words of sympathy.
She'll be okay, Lynch? You got her out, I know she's gonna be okay.
Fuck you, Kane.
Choose the other ending though, where Kane escapes in the helicopter and Jenny will definitely survive, but she'll be so disgusted by her dad's cowardice and betrayal of his comrades that she'll probably never speak to him again.
I hate you. You're exactly like they said you are. A traitor.
Teenagers, eh, Kane? I'm just kidding. You're a terrible father.
There you go, those were the games that had multiple endings, sure, but all of those endings were bad, sad, bad and sad, miserable, just why did you even bother? This was a real downer, and I'm depressed. So I think the only thing to do is go and cheer myself up with this video from Outside Xbox, which is about the weird-ass left-field endings that made us go, wait, what? At the end of a game? Which is better than miserable, right? And then this one from Outside Extra, which is about the heartbreaks in video games that we still haven't gotten over, but somehow, like Heroes, we will talk to you about them because you got to talk about something.
Villains come in all shapes and sizes, usually quite large, but if they have one thing in common, it's a shared ambition not to accidentally help the good guys save the world. And yet it happens more often than these so-called bad guys would care to admit. Just think of the occasions on which these antagonists save the day with embarrassing self-sabotage. Beware spoilers for these games, which you may or may not know the ending of already. And if you don't know the ending of Lord of the Rings, go and watch the movies and we'll see you back here in 9.5 hours.
You just saved me a lot of trouble coming here, Batman. I'm gonna kill you. Then I'm gonna jumpstart your heart. And kill you again.
Batman's collection of villains is a real mixed bag. For every Joker, there's an Iron Hat Ferris. For every Penguin, a crazy quilt. For every Catwoman, a Riddler. Oh, come at me, Riddler fans. Here, I've got a riddle for you. What's green and covered in question marks and sucks? Answers in the comments below. The answer is the Riddler. The Rogues Gallery is especially hit and miss in Batman Arkham Origins, a game in which Gotham's most triangular billionaire is being hunted by 8 assassins, all out to win a $50 million bounty placed on his head by unhinged baddie Black Mask. I mean, there are 8 of them. They can't all be winners. That's how we end up with Lester Baczynski, aka the Electrocutioner, a super villain whose chief power appears to be that he owns a car battery and some jumper cables.
Street tough named Lester Baczynski calls himself Electrocutioner. Shocking.
Sure, he's sewn those cables into gloves, meaning he can do electric punches, but come on, guy, that's not going to do you much good in a fight against Batman. I guess we'll just have to let him find out for himself. Told you. Also, the electromagnetic signal in his gloves is what allows Batman to track the villains to their hideout.
There. I just need to track the signal to his location.
Nice one, Lester. Oh well, at least I guess he'll know better in future, and... Okay, forget I said anything. Still, Electrocutioner's loss is Batman's gain because the mysterious vigilante with Bruce Wayne's exact chin is able to take these shock gloves from Lester's corpse and repurpose them for his own use, giving him much more powerful attacks.
Now we're talking.
And, crucially, allowing him to thwart his arch-nemesis the Joker in the finale of the game. In the climax of Arkham Origins, the Joker seeks to break Batman's cardinal no-killing rule by offering him a choice: kill Bane or allow Bane's heartbeat to charge an electric chair, which would kill the Joker.
Kill Bane!
No, I won't kill him.
But you will. You will fight me with all your resolve, or you will die. Someone is going to die.
Thanks to the Electrocutioner, there is instead a peaceful third way, where Batman opts to beat Bane until his heart stops, waits for the Joker to leave, and then uses the shock gloves as a makeshift defibrillator to restart Bane's heart.
Come on.
And then beats him some more. Hey, that is peaceful for Batman. He also pulls the same trick on Alfred at another point in the game. Basically, if it wasn't for old Lester, things would be a lot worse for Gotham's hunkiest goth. So, thanks, Lester. Lester? Man, you are not helping yourself here, Lester.
Shepard did everything right. More than we could have hoped for. Saving the Citadel, but leaving the Council to die. Humanity's place in the galaxy is stronger than ever. And still, it's not enough.
In Mass Effect, the greatest threat to life, the galaxy and everything is an ancient race of synthetic organic spaceships called the Reapers. These squid-looking space monsters rock up every 50,000 years and harvest all the intelligent life in the Milky Way, leaving nothing but rocks and kids eating Tide Pods. The bad news for the Reapers is that despite being incredibly advanced, they utterly fail at the end of Mass Effect 1 to kill the single human being who stands a chance at ending their reign of cyclical terror.
Its shields are down. Now's our chance.
Get it with everything we got.
That human is Shepard, as if you didn't know. The good news for the Reapers is that no one really believes Shepard when she bangs on about some advanced ancient race coming to end all life as we know it.
But they're sending her to fight Geth. Geth? We both know they're not the real threat. The Reapers are still out there.
They're all like, Shepard, that sounds way too scary and expensive to be a serious problem, so no, you can't have the resources and multilateral commitment required to fight the Reapers. Instead, how about now you, I don't know, go on patrol for Geth? Those things are so annoying. Seems like a worthwhile use of your time.
We're wasting our time. 4 days searching up and down this sector and we haven't found any sign of Geth activity.
In yet more good news for the Reapers, while Shepard is on one of these BS patrols, she encounters yet another ominously named race of cybernetic baddies known as the Collectors.
Presley! Kinetic barriers down. Multiple hull breaches!
These guys have a lot more luck at blowing up Shepard's ship and killing her in that they do both of those things.
Pintiu ți-ai dat ascend?
No.
Nu?
Nu. Tu?
N-am, dar nu.
Nici eu. Aha.
Nici nu știu ce pot să dau ascend încă. Încă nu știu ce mă transform.
Am 159%.
Ce ai?
Minion damage modifier. Gen dau de 3 ori mai mult damage decât e normal. Minioni.
Păi nu, așa se face. Păi și eu am multe cu elemental damage. All attributes rank 1. What the fuck, ce crafting-uri. Oh, gata, what the... Enter the labyrinth. Ah, shit, mi-a arătat help acolo. Shit, vreau să citesc. Open help panel. Permanent leagues. Microtransactions. Poți să fii elementalist? Vreau și eu să vedem la... A, spatul labirinturi. Go!
This is from Matilda. The breath I've taken and the one I must to go on, but the grenade been in your hand, so you understand who's boss. My defeat sleeps top to toe with her success. Oh, this is from Matilda.
The next lieutenant you hit will be killed instantly.
From the nape of her neck, he made his descent. They watched men hurl from rock to sea, like standing to bottom, line lip inches in between.
Oh, voglio, de zero damage. Ow.
Swims quietly beside me. Oh, the weeds, the larger leaves sway and stretch themselves beneath. Blue dragonflies dart to and fro. I turn my light to your balloon, let it go.
Nu folosiți scuturi, nu?
Nu.
Cam un scut legendar. Îl vând pe market aici, îl vând, dau cuiva?
You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I never loved another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know, I'm feeling love. You gotta know, I'm feeling love. You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I'll never love another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. I might as well be in our garden. I said a smell in the air is a dripping rose. You can be the wine for me. I know the soda be my warden. Of anything there that's made of gold. A physical kiss is nothing without it. And you close your eyes to see what it's done. The body that lies is built up on looking. swell before it's hardened. With the flick of the hair, it can make you old. Another hole to dig my soul in. I'll leave anything bare that keeps me sold. A physical kiss is nothing without it. And you close your eyes to see what it's done.
Interessante proprio one shot con un attacco. Labirinto.
I might as well be in our garden. I said a smell in the air is a dripping rose. You can be the one for me. Another soul to be my warden. Of anything there that's made of gold. A physical kiss is nothing without it.
Ah, che cavolo, Resurrecting Town.
You close your eyes to see what it's done. The body that lies is built up on looking. It's all that remains before it's begun. You gotta know I'm feeling love, made it go. I'll never love her, another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know I'm feeling love, made it go. I'll never love her, another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. A heart will swell before it's hardened. With the flick of the hair, it can make you old. Another hole to dig my soul in. I'll leave anything bare that keeps me sold. A physical kiss is nothing without it. And you close your eyes to see what it's done. The body that lies is built up on looking. Is all that remains before it's begun. You gotta know I'm feeling love, made it go. I'll never love her, another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know I'm feeling love, made it go. I'll never love her, another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know I'm feeling love, made it go. I'll never love her, another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it.
Marry a man like no other. Light the fuse. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
fabricat un arc legendar. Cât vrei.
Da mine. Adu, hai noroc.
Acum nu stai. Se încarce.
Că tocmai m-am spawnat, că am murit.
Jumps to 2 feet creep up the road. 2 photo to record me lumps and war. Their ancestors his chance. Very yellow white flash. A violent red green smash rips light as if like grass. But so high from the leak avalanche, mine is a watery pit. Painless with immense distance.
Ești în oraș? Unde? Da, trebuie să dăm prin parc pe aici. Social.
Hai de la hideout-ul tău.
Da, hai la al tău, am înțeles al tău. Ce ai zombie acum?
Da, și zombie. Eu uite încă 7 din ăștia.
Dar parcă nu jucai cu așa.
Ia uite și 5 din ăștia. Bă. Te accept. Alex.
Uite, am dat.
Pe ce waiting for next match?
Uite, încep să fiu trap master de acum. Mai dă dată. 3.
Ce n-ai știu duel? La duel mă că accept.
Ce duel cu?
Stai să dau acum.
Bă, nu mi-ai dat.
3.
Trebuie să nu fim în party, cred, ca să dai duel. Nici pe 34. Păi este mai puțin decât am eu. E e tot recurve, și am tot recurve.
Uite,
stai să dau, e ok, mă. Da, are mai puțin damage decât am eu.
Da.
Ba nu, Ia stai un pic. Dacă scrie la pasivă 63% increase physical damage, aia se aplică la stațiile sau e pe la... Ba nu.
Nu. Te accept la duel.
30% projector. Stai un pic, elementul ăsta. E pur și simplu mai slab. Cea mai puțin damage. Ce e asta, bro? Ce face chestia aia?
Te accept.
Am dat. Ce nu știu de el?
Tu nu cred că să dai click, bă. Ce naiba, bă? Le dai freeze? What the fuck?
Nu, eu mor. Shit.
Dar nu că îi aruncai în spate.
Băi, am knockback. Fac off cu reduri.
A, tu îmi dai reduri.
Păi ce facem, bă? Dai
A,
reduri.
bine, gata. Păi dai și cu reduri. Adică nu, că nu se merge, că am făcut mai bune, cred.
Ai cancel, pe că nu mă spamezi din alea.
Păi.
Și eu spamez numai AOE-ul.
Oh, și schimba harta, prietene.
Dacă erai mele, n-aveai nicio șansă. Puneam capcane.
Skill point. Oh. Ia uzi, bă, când o increase, stai. Era gata. Da. Dar le dai freeze la aia sau ceva.
Nu, și stagger de la attack.
Păi da. NPC-urile nu dau așa.
Păi nu, dar eu nu sunt.
Și tu-ți bagi reduri, bă, du-te în pula mea de țăran.
Nu mi-am băgat, bă, băiatule, am regen pe toate itemele.
Da.
Bă, stai, bă, deja vin ăștia. Ce dau stagger ale tale pe hit? Au stagger on hit?
Ce?
De ce dau stagger chestiile alea?
Că și tu când tragi în ei se dau...
Păi da, dar eu nu trag în căcat de summon, nu e tine. Eu nu-ți dau stun când te atac.
Ba da. No, e fain. Uite acum ne dăm rol.
Ah, trebuie să-mi pun balista, am și uitat de ea. Și am OP, că eu dacă distrug pe cineva dau foc. Eu spamez 1 miliard de ea.
Castul. Da, fain. Distrai.
Ba, nu.
Ce?
E modul să mă cuci. Da, trebuie să mai dau și... Trebuie să dau grani, bă, că nu pot să bat... Nu pot să fac labirintul ăla, adică e mai greu.
Care labirint?
Am încercat labirintul.
Care?
E greu. Ăla de Asen.
Ah, da, pe ăla e greu, bă, nu știu. Dar poți să-l faci la level mai mare.
Îl pot face, aproape puteam, da. Mai dau niște grani înainte.
Eu mai trebuie unul. Imperial Gardens.
No, ba.
Că a murit, băga mea și pula în ele joc. Fucking fuck. Ce m-a buliat, bă. Bă-s grelele. Mai îl fac o dată. Băga mea și pula. Că sunt niște chesturi, știi? Și trebuie să dai roleplay, știi? Că ți-a rezolvi un puzzle, știi? Și n-am fost atent, bă, știi? Și am murit, bă.
Ce ai pățit, mă?
Am murit. În laborator. Și dacă nu ești atent în labirint de fapt, scuze. Și sunt niște maze-uri, știi? Și, na, sunt unele zone unde sunt niște chesturi, știi? Și dacă ești băiat mare, știi? Trebuie să dai seama cum să le faci, știi? Cam atât. Mai fac o dată. Nu știu, că pierzi timp, da? Nu e nimic. E același layout. Deci exact în același lucru am găsit ușile. Acum sunt deja la al doilea fight.
So I choke on sun, and the days blur into one in the backs of my eyes. On the things I've never done, sheets are swaying from an old clothesline, like a row of captured ghosts or old dead grass. There's never much, but are launching from my chest. Some have names, but most do not. If you find one, please let me know what piece I've lost. Peel the scars from off my back. I don't need them anymore. You can throw them out. Keep them in your mason jars.
Mi-a dat un achievement Ascendancy. Făcut Necromancer.
say nothing is true. It used to be so easy, I never even tried. Yeah, it used to be so easy. Trust in all love, all that is gone. It used to be so easy, I never even tried. Yeah, it used to be so easy. Stay sun, never felt so cold, so cold. The last day of summer, never felt so old, so old. The last day of summer, never so cold, so cold. Never felt so, so.
Strangers turning into dust. possibly be fading, or have something more to gain. I could feel myself growing colder. I
used to be so easy. I never even tried. Yeah, it used to be so easy. But the last day of summer never felt so cold, so cold. The last day of summer never felt so old, so old. All that I have, all that I hold, all that is wrong. All that I feel for trust in all love, all that is gone. It used to be so easy. I never even tried. Yeah, it used to be so easy. But the last day of summer never felt so. Nothing I am, nothing I dream, nothing is new. Nothing I think or believe in or say, nothing is true. It used to be so easy. I never even tried. Yeah, it
day of summer never felt so cold, so cold. The last day of summer never felt so old, so old. Trust in all love, all that is gone. It used to be so easy, I never even tried. Yeah, it used to be so easy. Last day of summer never felt so cold, so cold. The last day of summer never felt so old, so old. The last day of summer never felt
Să mă colbă înainte.
E, n-am.
Ia vezi. Pa.
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 Pa, mă.
Hai că eu tot aici stau, știi, dar n-am.
Na, asta e, mă.
Pa.
Nu am, bă.
Nu am, bă.